Hi guys, welcome back to another video on Next.js. In this video, I'm going to be talking about very important, in fact, very unique topic that's called tour guide on a website. You might have seen many websites that when you open up the web page for that website, they start showing up different models highlighting different sections or part of the page, introducing the particular section that what it does. So currently this is a default Next.js project, and I have first of all opened up this model, and it is showing different text which we can obviously customize anything we want to add. It can be a video, image, or any layout we want to build within this model. It is over the body tag of this whole web page. It is showing a skip button. If we don't want to tour the website, then we can go to the skip. It is showing the steps, that this is the first total 4 steps which are being added on this web page, and this is the next button. Currently it's showing 1 by 4. If I click on it, you will see that I have navigated to the second step of it, and there is a 2 by 4 on this button as well. There is a 2 by 4 over here as well. Over the button, this is the built-in in a library which I'm using, and this is something which is custom. And this is one of the example which I have chosen to teach you how we can customize the behavior, the functionality of this. And obviously whatever added over here, we can obviously customize it in any way we want, and we can click on this back button. It will take us to the previous step. Okay, let's click on the next, and it is highlighting this particular section. Let's click on next. It is now highlighting this particular section. We can highlight any section as we want in our web page. Since this is the last step, that's why I have disabled the skip button from this last tour guide step. Let's go to the back, and there is a cross button as well as there is a skip button. If I click on skip, I will not see any tour guide from now on, but I have added this start tour just to show you that how we can manage the state of this tour guide if user wants to see the tour again. So let me click on it. It will start off with the first step, and I can click on this one, and if I click on this cross button, it will start highlighting this circle icon over here. Means that I have not completed the tour guide for this particular web page. I want to start off looking it again. Okay, I can click on it, and it will start off showing at the same place where I clicked on the cross, actually the next step of it. Okay, and I can go back, I can go next, and I can click on it, and I can click on the last one like it. And let me open it up again. So everything is customizable, including the border of this overlay, the backdrop color, the opacity of this background, the background of it, the image, the layout, the skip button styles. We can change the color, we can add the background, we can customize it. I'm going to show you a fully customizable tour guide for any kind of website that you want to build. So this is going to be a very important topic, because in real world, ERPs, MVPs, SaaS applications, or any platform that you are trying to build, whether in React or Next.js, this is something that you must see or you must learn in order to integrate or introduce your platform to the viewers who are going to use your platform. So let's get started. I have actually implemented this particular tour guide on a default homepage which is provided by the Next.js when we create a new Next.js project. The reason I have simply chosen this particular UI, because I don't want to talk about irrelevant things, creating the UI first, then talk about how we can integrate the start tour guide over here. So again, using the same sections, we could include this particular section as well, or any section you want. You can include the dashboard, sidebar, nav bar, or any kind of things. And by the end of this video, I'm gonna show you some awesome resource where you can refer different problems, and you can optimize your tour guide following those resources. So enough introduction to this app and the tour guide. Let's get started, and I'm going to start off creating a new Next.js project where we'll be having this default UI, and then I will start off configuring this tour guide using an awesome library. So let's get started and create a new Next.js project over here. So in the terminal, I've opened up this new folder, npx create next app at latest, and then the dot, because I don't want to create a new folder. Hit enter. So it's going to ask me few questions which I'm going to answer. So let's wait for it. So I will go with the TypeScript, ESLint, yes, Tailwind CSS, yes, no for source directory, app router, yes, import alias, no. So it's going to take some time initializing our new Next.js project and installing different npm packages. So let's wait for it. All right, so project is created. Let me clear the terminal out and let's try to run the project first of all. It's currently running. So this is the other project which I was running before. I need to refresh this. So you will see there will be no start tour button at the top, and there won't be any tour guide starting off with this. So this is a new Next.js fresh project which we need to start off with. So in the terminal, first of all, what I need to do is to install a package. This is going to be a React.joyride. Hit enter, and this is the package, npm package, which I've installed, and this much weekly downloads it has. Currently over here there is no much information. I'm going to show you so many things which are not added over here, and this is the website of it, docs.react-joyride.com. Here it includes some pre-built props, but the examples which I've shown you includes a lot of customization options which I'm going to talk about in this video. So here it is already installed. Let me clear this out, and let's go to the app, and this is the page. Okay, so here it includes the default UI which I just showed you over here. Okay, first of all, we need to analyze the different parts of the TSX code which we want to highlight by the tour guide. So this is the first one, get started. So this is the section which we can include as a second step. First one is to be over the body, which is not compulsory. We can start off with just highlighting it. This is something which we can customize, but I'll start off with showing up the whole model over the body without highlighting anything. Okay, so next thing is maybe this one. Yeah, so now I'm going to add on few states. Const start tour colon set start tour. This is the state variable which I've created because we will be having a button start tour at the top or anywhere we want to add, which we can click on, and using this state we can close it or we can start it again over here. So this has to be imported at the top, and whenever we use state hook, we need to make that component a client component. Use client, and now I'm going to add another state to avoid some kind of hydration issues. So set loaded, this is going to be the false. Let me quickly add a check. If is not loaded, then I'm going to return null. Okay, this is going to save us from any kind of hydration error. And also I'm going to add a use effect hook, and here I'm going to set it to true, and this is going to be an empty array. I want it to be run only once whenever the component mounted. Okay, and I would like to add two functions. First of all, by clicking on the button at the top, I would like to start off with the tour. So handle start tour, set start tour to true, and then I'm going to start off with handle tour end. Okay, so this is going to be the false. This is going to be a callback function whenever we try to click on the skip button or we have completed the tour guide. Then this is the function which I'm going to trigger, because after the tour guide there might be a functionality or a requirement in your app. We want to trigger some new thing, maybe processing the navigation to another page, processing some built-in functionality, some animations. This is why I have added this callback function which I'm going to trigger from within that tour guide. Okay, so let's save it, and now here I'm going to wrap everything inside a div. Let's close this main, let's cut this div. So I've wrapped everything here. I'm going to start off with the class name. This is going to be the width full. Okay, and inside it I'm going to start off with another div, and this is going to have a button. So let's start off with this button. On click, handle start tour, and then it is going to have the start tour text. Let's give it some classes. This is going to be the px4 py2 text white bg blue 500 rounded md absolute, and top is going to be the 4. Okay, and now below this div, actually let's give some class to it. So this is going to be the flex, and this is going to be the justify center, and below this div I'm going to add start tour, and if the start tour is true, then I'm going to show the tour guide. So I'm going to be loading one component which I yet need to create. Okay, so let's create that. Here I'm going to be creating a new folder components, and inside this component I'm going to name it tour guide.tsx. Let's give it this. So this is going to be a tour guide. Okay, so let's try to import that from here, and now I'm going to pass few props to it. So this is going to be the start tour, and then I'm going to be triggering set start tour equals to set start tour, and now one last prop on tour end, because this is going to be triggered from within that joyride tour guide functionality. So handle start tour. So starting off with the start tour, set start tour, this is going to be triggered from inside this tour guide, and this is going to trigger this handle tour end to process some callback function. Okay, so let's come inside. Let me first see how it's looking like on the UI. Let's refresh, and it should show the top button over here. So start tour, I can click on it, and you will see that it is showing this tour guide over here. Currently it's just a text over here. So here I'm going to write everything which we need to start off tour guide with. So starting off with imports, so first of all I will be importing use effect from React and use state, and after that I will be importing the type from the react-joyride, and the first one is going to be the callback props from react-joyride and the built-in step from react-joyride. And also I will be importing the component of joyride which I will be rendering within return statement below, and then I will be importing the events, and I need to import the status from React Joyride, and I will be needing the image from next image as well. All right, now let's create an interface for this component. So interface tour guide props and the start set start tour on tour end. This is what I'm passing from this parent component start set start tour and on tour end. And these suggestions are coming from an extension of VS Code which I'm using. Let me quickly show you. So if I go to the extension, this is the extension Super Maven. Earlier I was using Tab 9 AI Assistant. Both are really awesome extensions. It really helps you while you're writing code and suggests you few things, but don't rely fully on these extensions suggestions, because sometimes it gives you wrong results. Okay, so let me quickly add these three props. Okay, and now for the start, this is going to be a boolean. For set start tour, this is going to be a function, so I'm going to add volume of type boolean. Return type is going to be the void. On tour end, this is going to be a function with the return type void. Okay, so let's use this as a prop over here like this one. Okay, again I chose the extensions suggestion. All right, so now inside this particular component I would need a few state variables. So first of all I would be needing the progress, and at the start of this video I showed you a custom 1 of 4, 2 of 4, all of these step numbers. For that reason I'm creating this particular state. Okay, so set progress, actually this is only the progress. All right, so at progress, and this is going to be set state equals to 1, because this is going to be start off with one value. Since we are using TypeScript, it's good that we give these types to each variable which we create. Next, how many steps we are expecting? We are expecting total 4. We can show 3 steps, 4 steps, 10 steps. It's up to our application. And again, I would like to give it the type for this variable. All right, next I'm going to create a new function. So this is going to be the generate steps equals to val colon number, and this is going to be of type step with an array. Okay, this is going to be an array. Let's save it for now. So let's give it an object. All right, so it is showing some kind of error. Let me see, parsing, this is not, so actually I have missed this particular arrow. All right, I will be coming back to it because this particular array is going to be containing different objects for the content within the each step window, the text, the images, the whole layout, the title, description of each window of each step. This is something which is it is going to generate. So I'll come back to it. After this, I'm going to create an array, run steps, and then this is going to be taking set steps array, use state of type state, and this is something which we need to create yet. This is the type, and after that I need to provide it a run start step index equals to 0 steps, generate steps, and then the total steps. Actually, rather than total steps, I need to pass it progress. Okay, the reason I have created this particular as a separate function, because if I don't do that, I will not be able to get back the updated progress value 1 2 3 4, that which step I'm currently on. So this is a trick, this is my own trick, own logic which I'm implementing. It is not suggested by the documentation or any other blog which I have seen, because I want to get the updated custom progress outside the next button. This is something which I have implemented, which I'm showing you. Okay, before moving further, let me quickly create an interface for this particular state. So this is going to take these values, run, step index, and these steps. Okay, so let me add an interface above. This is an interface. So you can see that the error is gone and it is fully following these particular 3 properties. All right, so this step is coming from this react-joyride, which is important, and this is something which we have added over here against these steps. All right, and this is what we are returning, and this type of state is returning these run steps and set state. So after this, I'm going to create a use effect. So whenever we are going to actually, so let me see what it is suggesting. So in fact, I'm going to manually add the code rather than just relying on it. So this is going to be the progress. All right, so inside this use effect, I'm going to set the state with the updated values initially when our first window over the body element is going to be shown. So previous state, this is going to be an arrow function, and inside it, let's get the previous state, prev state, and then this is going to take the steps, generate steps, and then the progress. All right, and we need to finish this as well. So this is going to be the this, and then this is going to be like this. Let me save it. There seems some kind of, actually I've already added that. So this is how it looks like. Next, I'm going to add another use effect, and here I'm going to checking whether the start variable which I'm passing from the parent component is actually true or not. Initially it has to be true, so I have given it false, because whenever I want tour guide to be started whenever user visited my website, okay, then I'm going to start the tour guide. So for this particular thing, I'm going to add a dependency start, and inside this use effect I'm going to check with if the start is true, then I'm going to set the state with the previous state. All right, so this is going to take the previous state, run true, step index 0, which is fine. So let's save it. So I have pretty much configured few things, and again this is not what is recommended by any documentation or blog. This is my logic to update the progress and to put those progress anywhere we want, to have our own custom design if we want, rather than having those step numbers on the next button, which I don't like. I just showed you at the start of the video that we can enable disable the step numbers on the next button as well. But there was no way to bring those step numbers outside the next button. This is the only way which I have implemented. There can be a more optimized solution for it. It's up to you guys if you want to implement it in your way. And now, enough talking, let's create a new function, handle joyride callback. And yes, we will be needing that. For now I'm going to leave it empty. This is going to be a callback function. Whenever we click on the skip button, whenever we click on the next back button, cross button, each status we can detect within this callback function of the joyride with the status property that it provides. Now we have pretty much configured it. Now we have already imported this joyride. Okay, this is a component which we can use over here. So joyride. All right, and this is going to take few properties. Continuous, this is going to take the callback handle joyride, and this function is already written. We can add run. We have added the run variable over here, this one, and we can have the steps. All right, and we can have let's say scroll to the first step. All right, if we don't provide any value, it is going to be the true. uh, and we can actually enable the debug mode as well, which I'm going to show you later on. Okay, so we have pretty much configured. One thing which I will be adding over here is the first body model, which is going to be shown first time. So let's come inside this array, and I'm going to start off with the content. Okay, and this is going to take up the content. So I'm not going to waste too much time in designing the stuff, but first of all I'm going to start off with the div quickly without spending too much time on it. So learn Next.js. Let's quickly give it some class name to it, padding of 3, and let's give it text for Excel. This is going to be a class name. So text for Excel. All right, so after this content, we are going to provide it with we can have a locale, and this is going to be taking the skip. This is how we can modify the text of the skip. Okay, so I can have some strong and then the skip. All right, and then I can have area label. This is going to be the skip label. All right, so after this locale we can have some target as well. Target is very important, that where we want to show this particular content. It can be a particular section of our page. It can be any element, it can be a class name, or it can be an ID, or it can be a tag or an element name. So currently we have one unique tag body which we can give to it. So let's give the target, and this is going to be the body. and now you can see that all the required properties are added. So let me save it. Let's save this one as well, and let's refresh this particular page. All right, so it's showing this thing. If I click on it, there must be some error, but currently we have started looking something. It's showing last because it's the only step which we have created, and we can come over here and we can start off adding few more things. So below this locale we can have the style, which is the default provided properties by this tour guide React Joyride. So this is going to be an object. We can have an option. So within this option we can have a width. Okay, so width is going to be, we can give the width, let's say 700. All right, and one thing which is important is the placement. Placement with respect to the section or a content. Like if we could set this next text, next logo, we can set the placement that left side, right side, top or bottom, where we want to show that particular highlighted text or a window or a model. If there is no space on any side, let's say I want to show at the top of it, but there is no space, it will be automatically bring to the down. Okay, it is automatically handled. So the placement is going to be the center. Okay, I hope that it will show at the center now. So let's refresh, and yes, it has fixed now. It has quickly shown up and it is showing this particular text. And we have this last button, we can close it and it is closed. We can click on the start tour. Currently I need to enable that. From here, this one, I think, handle start tour, but it should be false first. I need to trigger this handle tour, and from here it was already true, which is, this is not provided by this React Joyride. It is the state which I have created to restart this particular tour guide. Okay, so I need to first make it false from this callback function, which I'll come back to it, then I'll be able to restart this. Okay, before that, let me quickly fill up this particular content section so we can start looking something cool over here. If I refresh it, this is showing learn next. So here, inside this particular div, below this p tag, I can have this div for the image. This is the next SVG already added in our project. Next SVG, I've added background white and these kinds of things. So let me save it. Let's see if it's showing up over here. If I refresh this page, and yes, you can see that it's showing up over here. I can actually update the background color of this model, which I'm gonna show you. So after this div, I can have a few more text if I want. Okay, so let's add that. All right, so let's save it. Let's refresh. And yes, now you can see that it's showing this image, this text, it's showing the horizontal line, which I'm showing up over here, I think. Where is that? Priority, and there should be a border. Yes. So border, session button, foreground, border, bottom. Yes. And then value, which is being passed from that use effect, and total steps from the top. Okay, so we have pretty much configured the first window. Okay, now inside this Joyride, I can also add the global style for all of those steps windows, which I can configure. If I try to run the styles, and here I need to add two curly braces, and here I can have options. Okay, and inside these options I can have different properties. First one is the z index. I want it to be always on the top. Then I can have an arrow color if I want, so I can add this number sign 1f 1f 1f. if we want to show some arrow on the back or the next button, if there are multiple step, arrow will be by default added, but we can also configure the content inside it. The background color is going to be 1F. Overlay text color, we can make it white because the background is going to be the dark. And then I'm going to add an overlay color. Let's keep it like this. Overlay is going to be the overlay behind that window, this one. Okay, and it is going to be of opacity 0.9. All right, and let's give it the primary color. Primary color automatically gives us the color of buttons or anything, 1C 7BD4. So let me see if we see something cool. Yes, if I refresh, you will see that these are the primary color. Blue one is the primary color. Uh, and this is something which is by default added from the top. And we can have the back button as well, but back button will be shown once I move to the next step. I want to add few margin to this. So in order to add the margin, we can have different properties other than the options. We can have overlay. Overlay will be having a border, let's say 6 pixels, solid, and then the light blue. We can have a spotlight. Okay, currently we don't have a spotlight. It will be starting off with the step 2, step 3, and spotlight refers to the content which is highlighted. Currently we are showing the centered model over the body. Okay, so now I'm going to show 6 pixels solid, and but I'm going to show only 2 pixels. All right, so let me refresh, and let's see, you can see that there is a blue border over here, and there is a background black color with an opacity of 0.9. Actually, this border for the spotlight is not visible over here because when we will be highlighting a particular section and there is a border around those section, that is a part of this spotlight. This is called the spotlight in React Joyride, and this overlay is referring to this whole thing, the whole body or a page of a website. All right, so now I'm going to show up a second tour. Currently it's not showing skip, I think, because it's not having the second step. There is no point of having a skip over here. We can simply click on the last because there is only one step. Okay, so, and we can also enable disable cross button, change its color, adding padding margin to it, and also all these things can be done on this last or next button as well, which I'm going to show you. So inside this page, if I come over here, uh, this is something which I'm going to be highlighting, this p tag. What do you say? So we can check it with the p, but there can be the more than one p tags. We can check it with the class name. So it's better to give IDs which we can actually refer to a particular content of a step in the React Joyride for the tour guide. So I'm going to give it an ID, and let's give it step 1. Okay, so let's come over here in the tour guide, and this is going to be a second object. Okay, and then there is going to be this content. Okay, and inside this content I'm going to paste some UI which I'm going to copy from my notes. I don't want to waste time in teaching how to write Tailwind CSS, you know. So let's add this particular div. All right, so this is going to be shown up. There seems some kind of error. So again, I'm going to copy all of these properties, styles, placement, target. So let's add these. All right, so for width I'm going to decrease it width to 380, and I'm going to change its placement to bottom, and target is going to be an ID step 1. Okay, this is what we have given, and we can also give it the title if we want. For now I'm just giving some empty string. Okay, so let's refresh, And now you can see that there is this next button. So I can click on the next button, and now you can see that it has started showing this back button as well, because there is a back button. And it has started highlighting this spotlight section. And it has started having, it is not updating because I will be updating it inside the callback function. All right, so we can go to the back, we can go to the next. Skip is not visible, which I need to see. So let's go over here, and if I clicked on that, where I clicked, actually I clicked outside. I did not completed the tour, that's why it's showing this particular spotlight animated icon. Okay, so before actually adding the next steps over here, I'm going to modifying few things. First of all, I'm going to add few properties over here. Below this spotlight, we can change the color, margin, padding of different things. So first one is the button back, button close, button next. So all of these things are provided by this particular library. So let's start off with the button close. This is a cross button at the top right corner. So we can change its margin top to 5 pixel. We can have margin right to 5 pixel. We can have width is going to be the 12 pixels. And after this, we can have a button next. So for the button next, we can have an outline 2 pixels, solid, transparent. You might have seen when I reload this page, there is a small outline which I want to remove, which I have done. And then outline offset is going to be 2 pixels. Background color is going to be this one, the same one which I'm going to add. Okay, and then we can have border radius is going to be the 5 pixels. Then the color, this is going to be the text color, this is going to be white. Let me see if it happens. All right, it's not actually showing, so let me add FFFF. There has to be this hash as well for the background color, which I missed. So let's refresh, and now there is some kind of roundness, radius, text color, background color, although it was already being applied from here, but I can manually change the background and text color from here as well. Okay, and let's add the button skip. Button skip can have a color. So this color is going to be, let's say, A3. This is going to be a light gray. And I can have a margin to the tooltip footer, the whole tooltip footer. That includes everything, the back button, skip button, next button, and these things. All right, so inside this I can have a margin 0 pixels, space, 16 pixels, 10 pixels, and then the 10 pixels. All right, one last thing I want to add here is the button back. Button back is going to have an outline 2 pixels, solid, transparent, and outline offset is going to be the 2 pixels. Okay, so let's refresh. All right, so there is a margin around these buttons. And if I go over here, there is a back button, its color is changed as well, and there is specific styling being applied. All right, so in order to show the skip button, actually I've just got to know there is a built-in property to it. So I can show skip button and also show progress. Actually I've already added show progress, show skip button. Show progress is going to show all the steps on this button, and there is a skip button as well, you can see. And we can click on next. There is a 2 of 2. Last is added the back button over here. So these are all the customization that I'm going to show you, which you might find hard to find from the documentation or any other blog. If you are liking my tutorial, all the customization and the custom code which I've written, make sure to subscribe my channel and like my video. And also, if you need any development services from me, you can contact me on LinkedIn. I've given the link of my profile in the description of this video. All right. So next thing I would like to add here is obviously the further steps I want to add, and I want to modify this back button into an arrow. Okay. So in order to do that, I can actually come over here. Okay. And then I can have a locale. This is going to be a double curly braces, and here I can have a back property. This is going to take these parentheses, and inside it I can add any kind of HTML, and it is going to replace everything, the default text as well as default styling as well. Okay, so I need to add a back arrow, so I'm going to add it like this. So you can see that I've added font bold, focus, ring transparent, focus visible, outline none. This is simple classes from the tailwind CSS, and this is the text. All right, so now you can see that it is replaced with this arrow. If I add uh, more dashes, and now you can see that there are more dashes visible, so I think one dash is enough. And just like the back button, I can customize the next button as well. Similar to back, I can customize the skip button as well. Okay, I can customize the close button as well. Rather than showing the cross button, I can show some kind of text or any other styling I want to add. It's up to you guys. All right, so next thing, before actually moving further and performing these, updating these one of four text, I want to add more properties to it. Just want to show you. So we can hide or close that cross button as well. So that also has a property. So this has hide back button. We can hide the back button. We can hide the close button. Uh, so this is going to be the true by default. If we need to do that, we can simply add a false over here. After hide button, we can actually, when I click outside this window, it gets closed. I don't want to do that. And also when it gets opened, let's refresh. I can actually press the escape button on my keyboard. I want to disable both of these behaviors. So disabled close on escape, this is going to be added. And now disable uh, overlay close, and this is going to disable both of these things. If I write disable, there are more things. It is showing disable scrolling when it is opened, which we can add. And after that, we can have default padding as well over the content over here. So let me add that. So spotlight padding, we can have a 20 padding. Let's save it. And now you can see that the padding is increased over it. So I think the 10 is fine. And yes, you can see that the 10 is fine. Now it's not overlapping with this arrow. And now what's next? We have added all of these properties. You can go to the documentation. I'm going to add the link of these docs. These are all the properties that Joyride provides. And we can actually add more steps. So let's go over here and add step 1 ID and then the step 2 ID. So below this p tag, let's go down, and this is the step 2, this one. So let's add ID equals to step 2, and let's give the step 3 as well. So I'm going to add it to this div. So ID equals to step 3. All right, so let's go over here, and for these contents I'm going to simply copy paste because you have already understood how these things are working. So let's add the div for the content. In fact, I'm going to copy the whole object You can pause the video and write it down yourself if you want. So let's add it over here below this object. So I've added this, and you can see that the target is step 2 and it is going to be visible at the bottom. All right, so let's see, let's refresh, and you can see that 1 of 3 is visible now. So I can click on it and there is no cross button. I can click outside, it is not getting closed. This is something which we have already configured. I can go back, I can go next, I can go next, and this is something which is being highlighted now. uh, a particular section needs to have its own margin and padding as well if you want it. The border should not overlap with it. By the way, this border is something which we have configured ourselves as our custom styling. And this is the last. There is no skip because it's not required, and because we are already on the last step. We can click on skip, we can click on start tour, it will not be visible, which we need to configure now. Let me add the last content for the step 3. All right, and this is going to have a width 380, placement top, and let's refresh now. Let's click on next, let's click on next, next, and this is the last one, and the placement is top, that's why it's visible at the top of it. All right, and this is visible at 1 of 4. Okay, and there is a skip button over here as well. There is a skip here, there is no skip over here as well. The placement of this 1 of 4, since this is not provided by React.jyride, I am manually adjusting its placement based upon which step I'm on. Here it is visible on each content, and I'm showing the setting the border and the left property for this particular value of total steps. All right, so these things are done. One last thing, I need to update this value 1. It is not getting updated, so I need to come here in this particular function, and here I'm going to detect whether I clicked on next button, whether I clicked on back button, skip button, cross button, or which action I have performed using this joyride package. So first of all, I can fetch different properties from the data which is provided by callback props. If I go to the top, you can see that callback props are being provided by React Joyride. Okay, so let's get the data. Where is that? Yeah, so const, we can get the status, we can get the type, we can get the index from data. Okay, and now let me first of all get different statuses. Let's say we have a finished status, like we have completed watching all the tours for this particular page and clicked on this last button. It means the tour has ended. And if we click on the skip, it means that we skipped the tour. All right, so for that I'm going to add an array. So finished statuses, this is going to be of type string, and this is going to take two values, status.finished or status.skipped. So this status is also coming from the React Joyride, which we can use to detect which action we are actually want it to perform. So after this, I can check if finished status.include status. I want to remove this one. If we finished all the tour or if we skipped that, then I'm going to reset the state, because we have completed everything. The whole tour guide have been seen. So now I can have the steps run equal to false and step index equals to 0, because next time when I will be restarting it, it should start out with the 0. Set start tour equals to false and on tour end. Now set start tour, if I click on it, you will see that this is getting false. This is the state which I created. This is getting false. And on tour end is going to call this one as well, handle tour. Actually, we can do one thing only. This is some extra step which I added. but we can remove one step. So both of these things are making that particular state variable false. Okay, so after this if condition, we can actually show that progress like 1 of 3 or 2 of 3. But first of all, let me save it. First of all, let's add else if and this, and inside this else if, we can actually detect the type. We can get the index as well. So for this, I can have another parentheses, and inside it, I can have events dot, and all of these properties it provide: beacon, error, step after or step before, target. So step before is something which I would like to select as string of type this include type. Okay, and now inside this else if, I want to set the progress state with index +1. Okay, so let's go over here, let's refresh, and let's skip this button. Now this should be false now. Okay, and now if I click on start tour again, I'm able to start the tour again too, and this got true again, and this start tour is being passed to this start variable, and it is triggering this particular tour guide. Okay, let me finish this up, last one, and I'm able to restart that tour guide again. And one thing which I need to see is 1 of 4 is also getting updated because of this set progress which I've added. Yes, next, and yes, you can see that 2 of 4 is getting updated. If we simply update the state and use this progress over here, it is not getting updated because the state variable does not update this content by default. Instead, we have to update the whole state over here using this set state within this use effect. Whenever the progress is getting changed, this is going to trigger again, and this is going to get the previous state, generate the step again in order to recalculate the value. Okay, otherwise if we don't reset the whole state like this, then the progress update is not getting updated. Okay, and this is the logic which I have written to update the whole state in order to get the updated value, to bring the 1 of 2, 2 of 4, all of these progress values outside this button. And obviously we can enable disable when we have this thing outside it. It looks cool. We can disable this 2 by 4 from within next button by simply removing this show progress. Okay, show progress equals to false, which we can return, or simply removing it will also remove this thing. All right, so what is left? I think we have pretty much covered everything. I've actually removed that cross button. You can also enable that if you want. So disable hide close button, you can remove this if you want, or we can have value equals to false. It will be visible, and if I click on it, you will see there is a circle cross. There is a circle over here because we have missed watching this particular section. So I can click on that, it will be restarted from here. Click on the last, and this is how cool this tour guide works in our Next.js app with all of the customization. And this is a reusable component which I have built. Again, if you have liked my video, do share it and do subscribe my channel. And if you need any development services, do contact me on LinkedIn for any development services, and I've given the link of my LinkedIn profile in the description of this video. And do check out my channel as well. I have 50 plus videos on Next.js, starting off with the e-commerce project based videos and the concepts based videos as well. I'll be creating more videos on Next.js. Stay tuned, do subscribe, and see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.